My life is a masterclass in de-escalation. I'm Sarah. I'm a divorce mediator. I don't just draft agreements. I build peaceful exits. I sell logic. I take the raw, radioactive chaos of a dying marriage, the anger, the betrayal, the grief, and I construct a calm, logical, and extremely civilized path forward. I find the last shred of common decency between two people, and I build a fortress around it. My life is the same. My house, the one I bought after the divorce, is a modern, quiet, glass and steel townhome. My relationship with my ex-husband is a perfect blueprint of co-parenting. Bi-weekly check-in calls, a shared Google Calendar, and a mutual, unspoken agreement to never, ever be real with each other. My son, Josh, is our one shared project. He's 15. He's a good kid. Quiet, smart, logical. He's like me. It is all in a word: calm. My son, however, was a problem. I found out at 11:30 p.m. on a Tuesday. The call came from the local police precinct. My calm, logical, 15-year-old son had been caught with two other boys, spray painting the side of the old community center. The one that had just been renovated. The one with the new mural. It was a flaw in the blueprint. It was a 9-figure negotiation collapsing. It was my entire carefully built narrative of a good post-divorce childhood imploding. I was in the waiting room of the precinct, a quiet, fluorescent-lit hell, for an hour. I was in my lawyer armor, a sharp black blazer I'd thrown on over my silk pajamas, my hair pulled into a severe bun. A man walked in. He was the opposite of everything in my life. He was a mess. He looked to be in his late 40s. He had on a faded t-shirt for a band I'd never heard of, jeans with a hole in the knee, and his hair looked like he'd been sleeping in his car. He looked exhausted. He sat down 2 chairs away from me, ran his hands through his messy hair, and just sighed, a deep, profound, world-ending sigh. He was the father of one of the other boys. "First time?" he asked, not looking at me. His voice was a low, gravelly rumble. "What?" I said, my voice sharp. I was on my phone, already looking up juvenile law statutes. I was in fix-it mode. "Here," he said. "For this." He gestured to the room. "My son Liam, this is his 3rd talking to. But first time with spray paint. That's new. That's ambitious." He was trying to make a joke. I just stared at him. "I'm Ben," he said, finally turning. He had kind eyes. Tired but kind. And a scar on his chin. "Sarah," I said curtly. I turned back to my phone. "I just need to speak to the officer. This is a misunderstanding. My son is a good kid. He's logical." Ben actually chuckled. A low, sad sound. "None of them are logical at 15, Sarah. They're just balls of anger and hormones and bad ideas. They're drafts. Messy, messy first drafts." Before I could formulate a response, the officer called my name. "Josh Martin." "And Liam Miller." Ben stood up when I did. We walked back together. Josh was sitting on a bench. He looked small. He wouldn't look at me. Liam, a kid with too much hair and a defiant slump, was trying to look bored. I was a mess. A cold, hyper-controlled, falling apart mess. I expected Ben to yell at his kid. I expected him to be angry or to start making excuses. He did none of those things. He just stood there. He looked at the 2 boys. Then he looked at me. "The community center," he said. "The new mural. They painted over the new mural." It's just paint," I stammered, my voice rising in a way that was completely unprofessional. "It's vandalism, yes, but it's fixable. I'll pay for it. I will. I will handle this." "You can't pay for it," Ben said, his voice quiet. "Excuse me." "You can't pay for it," he repeated. My ex-wife. She painted that mural. She and a bunch of the neighborhood kids. It took them all summer." He looked at his son. She died 2 years ago, Liam. You know that. That was her wall. The room, it stopped. My heart was a trapped, hammering bird in my chest. My breath was coming in short, shallow gasps. This wasn't a logical problem. This wasn't a fixable negotiation. This was a different kind of chaos. My son had done this. I was choking. I can't," I gasped, fumbling for the wall. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I was having a panic attack. Right here, in the middle of a police precinct, in front of this messy, grieving man whose wife's memory my son had just destroyed. I was coming apart at the seams. Ben looked at me. He just watched me. His face was unreadable. And then he moved. He didn't move to get me water. He didn't move to yell at me. He put one hand on my back. A simple, solid, grounding pressure. Breathe, he said. I can't, I whispered. He's my son. I'm failing. The words just fell out. No, he said, his voice a low, grounding, impossibly calm rumble. You're just finding out. We're all failing, Sarah. That's what parenting is. It's just a series of failures and hoping you get a few things right. He kept his hand there. It's just paint, he said, echoing my words, but they meant something different now. It's just paint. We can fix the paint. I was still shaking, but I did it. I inhaled. It was a ragged, messy breath, full of the smell of stale coffee and just failure. Good, he said. Again. I took another breath. I straightened my spine, and the feeling of choking it eased. Just a fraction. What do we do? I whispered. I don't know, he said, and it was the most honest thing anyone had said to me in a decade. I guess we take them home, and tomorrow, we buy a lot of paint stripper, and we go to the wall. I just stared at him. I was a powerful, successful, wealthy woman. I was a master mediator, and I was on the verge of tears, being brought back from the brink by a quiet man in a faded t-shirt, who was just as broken as I was. I can't, I whispered. I can't do it. The co-parenting. The calm. Any of it. It's a lie. It's not the right blueprint. I had just confessed my deepest, most terrifying secret to a total stranger. He was quiet for a long time. He finally looked up. His eyes, they weren't judgmental. They weren't surprised. They were just kind. I know, he said. What? I know, he repeated. You've been building a life that's clean, sterile, but kids are messy. Life is messy. Grief is messy. You can't mediate grief. He stood up in one fluid, graceful motion. He was close now. You've been building a life that doesn't fit, he said. It's not your son, Sarah. It's you. The blueprint. It's just waiting for a real person to be in it. He reached up, and his touch was gentle. He undid the top button of my blazer, the one I was convinced was choking me. Wait. No, he didn't do that. He just reached up, and his thumb, it brushed my cheek. You've been crying, he whispered. I hadn't even realized. It's okay, he said. It's a lot. 2 weeks later, I was standing in front of the wall. It was clean. Mostly. My hands were raw. My nails were broken. I had blue paint in my hair. Josh and Liam had scrubbed for 12 days. And Ben and we'd scrubbed with them. And we'd talked. We'd talked about our exes. We'd talked about our kids. We'd talked about her, his wife, the artist. He was standing next to me. We were just looking at the wall. The mural was gone. It was just a blank, white wall now. It's clean, I said. Yeah, he said. It is. It's sad, I said. It's just white. It's not sad, he said. It's a new canvas. He turned to me. It's a start. I just stood there in my paint-stained jeans, in front of this man who had just seen every single flaw, every single lie, and hadn't flinched. He reached out, and his hand was rough, calloused, and covered in paint. He just tucked a piece of my hair behind my ear. You missed a spot, he whispered. And then he kissed me. It wasn't a romance novel kiss. It wasn't fireworks. It was deliberate. It was slow. It was the kiss of a man who knew what messy meant. It was warm, and it tasted like coffee and paint thinner. And it was, in a word, solid. It felt, for the first time in my life, like a foundation. He pulled back just an inch. His kind, tired eyes were on mine. So, he said, his voice a little rough. What do we paint now? I just stood there, my hand on my mouth, in front of this blank, white waiting wall. And for the first time in my entire logical, well-planned life, I had absolutely no idea what to do next.